Hey guys, how is everybody doing? With the release of Gladiator 2 now officially in theaters, today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the original classic Gladiator. And for those of you who don't know, I am absolutely a huge fan of Gladiator. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. It is my favorite Ridley Scott film of all time. It's probably my favorite period set film, like kind of like the 1800 type movies like that. This is probably my favorite period set film because it is just an absolute amazing movie, and it's just one of my absolute favorites. And now, with that release of Gladiator 2, I have been nervous for. I have not checked it out yet. I am going to be going seeing it later tonight. I'll give you my thoughts about it on a little YouTube short that I usually upload on my channel. So come around here around 10 p.m. and you'll probably see that. Maybe. But yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Gladiator. I am very nervous about Gladiator 2 because it looks good, but some reviews are mixed. But yeah, enough stalling, enough with that all out of the way. Let's talk about the original Gladiator. Starting off with my positives on Gladiator, and one of the first things that I absolutely love about this movie is the set pieces. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this movie won an award for best set design. I could be mistaken. This movie did win 5 Academy Awards, one for Best Picture as well. So I don't know if that was one of the five, but I'm pretty sure it did, but I could be mistaken. But the set pieces in this movie are absolutely amazing. They absolutely brilliantly brought this world to life and absolutely brought set this period of time to life as well, with the people with the armor stuff, with the clothing and how just everything else looks. And it barely kind of looks like they barely used any CGI, because when you watch this movie, it looks real. Everything that you're watching, everything that you're seeing go down, it looks real. It doesn't look like it's CGI. It all looks real to me, and it looks real to the audience. And that's because of the set pieces and the set designs. Because the outfits in this movie are absolutely amazing. The fact how they were able to bring those outfits to life, I am absolutely awed by, because those are absolutely amazing, to where this movie shows absolute amazing old school filmmaking, because this movie had like $100 million budget, which is surprising, especially for a 2000 film, which is basically just like the beginning of a new era after the 90s. So that's a big budget, especially because the people were just leaving the 90s at that point. The 90s had just ended. So looking at the set pieces and looking at those set designs, it's just absolute awe of what they were able to create and how they were able to make everything look the way they did, because this movie looks absolutely brilliant. They brilliantly brought this world to life, and it never really felt like it wasn't set in the same world. There was never like a miscue or whatever. It never felt like there was one set design that was kind of messed up or whatever. It all feels the same, and you never get taken out of the action because there's barely any CGI used. There are moments here and there to where you can see there's CGI used, but it never takes you out of it, because everything else around the CGI looks practical and it looks real. I also felt the action in this movie was really, really good, to where that's why I've always considered Gladiator a kind of a action drama movie, kind of like a history drama action movie, because this movie has always been an action film to me. A lot of people can argue that it's not a actual action movie, just has actual moments, action moments in there, and it's more of just like a history drama film, which I wouldn't argue with you, that it is. But to me, this has always been an action movie, because when you look at the action just from the very beginning of this movie, you can tell that it's an action movie and just how badass this movie is. From the opening scene alone, to where there's like a literal war going on. There's a literal battle war going on from the opening moments of the fucking movie. And just seeing how badass that whole sequence is tells you how badass the rest of the movie is going to be. And when you actually get in the octagons and you actually get to see the gladiators fight, you get to see Russell Crowe fight, you see all of these people just fight it out, and you see these awesome action sequences, to where I always remind myself, when you're watching this is real stuff that happened back then. That was entertainment to people. Like how people like me, I watch WWE, I watch wrestling. That is the modern version of gladiator battles in a way. But gladiator battles was the different version of wrestling, and the way that they were brilliantly able to bring those to life as well, and just how badass they were able to make them, to where It might sound messed up, but like people watching this movie, they would probably pay to see that stuff in real life. People would honestly like to see that because people like watching MMA fights, UFC, or boxing. Like people will pay to see other people punch the shit out of each other, and I guarantee you, people would probably pay to see octagon fights. I would. I don't know if how that sums me up as a person. Now that I think about it, a really good idea for an octagon fight, just get an octagon, you get two homeless people, you put a $20 bill in there, and you give them weapons, and whoever wins, they get the 20 bucks. Homeless people will really do anything for money. It's a terrible thing to say. And now let's talk about the star of the show, the man that makes this movie just so rewatchable and why this movie is as good as it is, Russell Crowe in the lead role as Maximus. Russell Crowe's performance in this movie is just absolutely amazing. I absolutely love his performance in this. This is the movie that made me fall in love with Russell Crowe. The first movie I watched with Russell Crowe was The Nice Guys, which he's good in that, and I'm not saying it's because I didn't like him in that movie, but I liked him, but I didn't like love him as an actor. I thought he was good in it. I thought he was funny, but I didn't love him as an actor. And then my dad introduced Gladiator to me, and I fell in love with Russell Crowe to where I remember the first time I watched this movie, I was like 10 years old, I think. When I was 10 years old, I watched this movie. I fucking loved it. I thought Russell Crowe was great in it, to where I seriously went on a binge just trying to watch every single Russell Crowe movie I can get my hands on. And not a lot of them are great, I will admit. But like this guy, it just makes this movie so rewatchable and makes this movie so amazing and why you enjoy this movie because his performance and his acting is great and there's no doubt in my mind why he won Best Actor that year because his performance in this movie is great. One of my favorite sequences and favorite scenes in this movie, he seems just so calm and you can see it in his eyes, you can hear it in his voice because the scene to where
my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Joaquin Phoenix character, he shows up at the octagon, he's talking to him, he's like, remove your helmet, he goes, well, my name is Gladiator, and he turns around, shows it back to him, he takes off his helmet, and he reveals to Joaquin Phoenix who he is, and Joaquin Phoenix's character, he's the reason Maximus is in that octagon, and you can hear it in his voice that he hates him, and that he despises him, but he sounds so calm while he says it, and when he says, in this life or the next, I will have my vengeance, he says it so calmly, but you can just tell that he is angry at this guy and he just wants to fucking murder him. Like, moments like that just shows how great Russell Crowe is in this film. He is absolutely brilliant. And for what I can tell, he did a lot of his own stunts from what it looked like in the movie. It never really felt like I can see someone else doing stunts for him. But if he did do his own stunts, kudos to him because that's fucking hard to do. So yeah, Russell Crowe, he is absolutely amazing in this. He's one of my favorite actors ever, and he's absolutely brilliant in this movie. This is by far his best movie, and arguably his best performance, which I don't know if there's going to be another movie to top this performance. So yeah, Russell Crowe, he's absolutely amazing in this movie. He's absolutely brilliant. He's a brilliant actor, and I just absolutely love him in this movie. And he just gives off some of the most quotable lines in this movie too. Like my name is like the whole scene where he says that I'm Maximus Decimus Meridius, and of course the most iconic line in film, one of the most iconic lines in film history is "Are you not entertained?"
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
The line that I have always said to like my sisters, like who are one of them told me that they were scared of death one time, and I told them the line. I knew a man who once said, "Death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back." Those are great words of advice that he gives in this movie, which sure may sound cliche, but some of the words that advice that he gives in this movie, and some of the lines that he says in this movie, you can quote, and some lines are true, like the one I just said about death. Some of these lines are just so quotable, and some of them are just so true. I also really love the story that they tell here, in which I was just talking about Maximus, and where you get the character of Maximus, who is a leader of this group of these war leaders in a way to where that's kind of like a it's kind of like the military version of this time period, to where he is the leader, he is the commander in chief and all that, to where he is the leader of them, but then his emperor tells him that when he dies he wants him to take over. He doesn't want his son to take over because he sees in him that he won't be able to, he does not trust him, he does not believe in that he can do it, which has a great message in this movie as well with politics and that with all that. I won't get into it, but it has a good message with the politics stuff. And so he wants him to do it, but then the son, who is played by Joaquin Phoenix, finds out about it, and because his father tells him, and he kills his father. And since people don't know that he wanted Maximus to become the new leader, right away, Joaquin Phoenix becomes the new leader, and one of his first things is because he does not like Maximus. He knows what he's capable of, and he knows that he wants, and he knows that Maximus was meant to be the new leader, and so he decides that he wants his men to go out and kill them. So they fail with that, and they end up killing his wife and son, and he's kind of passes out, and these people pretty much kidnap him, and they make him become a warrior and a gladiator. He gets sold off to this person, and he is forced to become a warrior and now a gladiator. And since he has that war knowledge going on, he knows how to fight in battles, and since he has all that knowledge, he just messes everybody up that he comes across in this octagon. Like when he takes on like one of the biggest people in there all by himself, and he takes him out like he is nothing with two swords, and people around, everybody in the octagon is just so shocked, and they did not expect this. And the guy that bought him is like, you're not meant to be this good. I meant to buy a man who was easy to die easy, so these people are entertained. I don't want a man who can just fight easy. But then Russell Crowe's character Maximus becomes a big pawn. He becomes a huge draw to people. Everybody loves him, and throughout the movie, Joaquin Phoenix wants to try and get rid of him because then he finds out that he is battling for his freedom. Wins over the crowd, he wins his freedom, and so Joaquin Phoenix tries to get him killed, tries to get him killed in the octagon or killed him outside the octagon, so he doesn't win his freedom because he knows when he wins his freedom, he's instantly going to go after him and try to kill him because obviously he ordered his wife and son to die. It's a great story told. It's a very simple story, and I'm hoping the story that we get in Gladiator 2 is at least a good follow-up from this, because I don't think you're going to be able to top this one. So yeah, I'm hoping with the new one it tries to at least merit this type of story. But yeah, it's a great story. It's a very simple story, and it's just one of the more entertaining ones. And my final positive is the side characters. Everybody else going on from Maximus, like all the characters that are kind of going on besides Maximus, you never get bored and you're always interested what's going on outside of Maximus. Like the people that are around Maximus that kind of help him around, like people that fight in the octagon with him. You get that one black guy that was in A Quiet Place Day 1 earlier this year and A Quiet Place Part 2, who ended up dying in that movie. I forget his name, but yeah, he's in it. He's a good side character who ends up winning his freedom because Maximus sacrificed himself to kill the Emperor pretty much at the end of the movie, and he wins his freedom. And you'll with Joaquin Phoenix's character, like you are so interested in him because he is so weird. I like Joaquin Phoenix as an actor, but he's a weird guy. Let's be honest. But like you are just so interested what's going on outside Maximus to where you never get bored and you never get taken out of the movie. Like when there's not action going on, you are interested in what's going on with these characters or what's going on with Joaquin Phoenix's plan and what he's planning to do about Maximus. You are interested what is happening outside of the action and Maximus, to where you just never get bored. Like I never get bored rewatching this movie. I never get bored of just watching this movie. Like this movie's 2.5 hours. It does not feel that long. This movie is so entertaining outside of everything else going on, to where you're with Joaquin Phoenix's character, you're so interested in what he's going to do next because you know he wants to kill Maximus, but you just don't know how he's going to do it. And you see all this stuff going on to where you're just so interested to see what he's going to pull off or what kind of evil mustache twirling like thing he's going to do next. You are interested throughout from beginning to end of the film. All in all, guys, I have no negatives or mixed elements or anything slightly negative about Gladiator. This is an absolute masterpiece of a movie. It is one of the best films ever made. It is the best Ridley Scott movie ever made. And it's going to take one hell of a sequel to Gladiator to try and top this, which it won't. by any merit. I don't care how good it is, it's not going to top this one. But we shall see what Gladiator 2 has to offer. So if you're a Ridley Scott fan, then definitely check this movie out. If you are one of the few people in this world, or if you're living under a rock that have not watched Gladiator, please do yourself a favor and check this movie out because that 2.5 hour runtime only feels like an hour, dude. Thank you all so much for watching my review on Gladiator. If you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe to the bell notification so you will get notified for all my latest videos. Let me know your thoughts about Gladiator down in the comments below as well. And of course, until my next video, see you all next time.